This is Fourth Initiate, another Fourth Initiate podcast. I'm your host, Boaz Abel, where I will be taking you through the understanding of the universe and yourself to find out how you guys all work together and are able to get the abundance of the universe so that we all could be in harmony. If you guys have a chance, visit us on Instagram, Fourth Initiate. www.fourthinitiate.com is our website. And if you guys have a chance and you want to support us, go to our Patreon at Fourth Initiate as well. We're not asking for that much, but we do love your support. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Peace. How you guys doing out there? It's interesting times right now, as it will always be. I think one of the things that I think of most is an old Chinese saying, I believe it's Confucius, that says, "May you live in interesting times." And that actually wasn't a positive quote. That's actually meant to be a curse. It's like an old Chinese curse. And we're may or may not be living in that curse right now. However, it's all about how you think of it. And I'm trying to think of things a lot more positively than I used to with everything that's going on. It's like I'm a lot more calmer and a lot more introspective in my own self. And if you guys are listening to this week, the week of 10/19/2020, the theme this week is all about family and parenting. And I think I have written some stuff on my blog about how to be more of a conscious parent and understanding how to be emotionally sound and emotionally, cognizant with your kids, like having that emotional balance, right? Not getting too happy all the time and not getting too sad all the time, not getting too angry all the time, and finding an emotional balance and acting like everything is normal, or being as everything is normal no matter what happens. I think things re-sparked in kind of like what I wanted to do this week after last week. I had kind of like an interesting conversation with my 14-year-old son. He was just having a really bad day. Me and him we're like-minded people. We have the same sleep schedule. He doesn't sleep till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm the same way. So he calls me at 1 a.m. saying, "Dad, can we talk?" And I was like, "Of course we can." And apparently, mom's not doing so good because she's a teacher and she's stressing out about all the Zoom meetings, which is like, my heart goes out to a lot of the teachers out there. Both my kids are doing Zoom meetings, and it stresses me out just watching the chaos that ensues between the students and also the teachers themselves, because it's something that a lot of these teachers have never done before. It's like, what is a Zoom? They've never done that before. So it's putting them into new grounds and things like that. So his mom's really stressing out about that, and she's not sleeping at all. And she used to be the person that would go to bed by 9 o'clock and wake up by 6 a.m. religiously, whether it's on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And she's not doing that anymore. So I can imagine what type of stress he's going through. And outside of that, he's having a lot more of existential crises when it comes to his future, just as a young human. And that future being, it's like, what does it all mean? What does it all matter? Where am I going? What's the point? It's like, what's going to happen tomorrow? And when you are a 14-year-old kid, and I remember how it was when I was 14, having to stay in the house for 24 hours a day for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months would be torture. It would be murder for me. And I know he likes to hang out with his friends and do things like that, which I push him to do. So that's kind of been a hard thing for me to cope with and for him to cope with as well. I want to bring him into my existence, but unfortunately, because of COVID and the area that he's surrounded in, it's impossible to do, because, inviting in other people and just the chances of that, a lot of people are confused about this whole COVID thing, just as he is. So I haven't been able to really see my son since March, so maybe 6 months. And in that time, it was just one time. And I just remember that being so insanely difficult, scheduling everything, getting the test and making sure he got a test, and having to tell people where I'd been and who I'd been around. And so it was really difficult, but it's like, I get it as a mom. It's like, you want to make sure that your children are entirely 100% safe, no matter if it's their dad that they want to be with. So, he's going through a lot of what others are going through. And Just imagine that when you were 14 years old, 13 years old, if all of a sudden your entire existence was just upheaved and now everything is just totally different. It's like you don't have a lot of confidence left in the world. So our goal as parents is, like, my dearly here mom, she's still around, she would always tell me, she was like, I know we went through stuff. I know your dad was schizophrenic. I know we were in poverty. I know we were living in Compton. I know you saw gang shootings. I know you've been shot. I know blah, 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 blah. The only thing that I could do as a mother was to act as if everything was okay. This is normal. This is okay. Everything is exactly as it should be, so that you don't fear this when you see that in the future. I never liked that when she said that, because it was just like, it's not normal, mom. It's like, this isn't normal, And she was like, it's our life and it's normal. What can we do about it? And sometimes it's like, as a child, it's like you can't really do anything about it. But I do remember that because my mom had this kind of like understanding about how to be emotionally stable through everything. And my mom was extremely emotionally stable, and being emotionally stable through everything, she was able to step outside that box and do different things for us. Even though my dad he was very controlling. And there were times where when my dad was going through a schizophrenic episode, he would make us sit on the couch all day, all night, and we were not allowed to move from that couch. And my dad was a big guy. He's half Egyptian, half black, or actually he's Egyptian. And so he was a big bone guy, just a really big guy. And so, we weren't allowed to leave that couch. And, that's the type of control that our father had over us. And so my mom would find different ways for us to do things. Like, she got cable for us, so we could sit on the couch and watch cable while we were doing that. And she was out working and all these other things, so it was really difficult. But as things subsided and things passed, I look back on my life and I was like, that was the normal life for Boaz Abel. That's the life that I had to come from, and that's the life that I grew from. And I respect that life in the sense that it made me the human being that I am today, and able to do the dark work and reach inside and really be able to help other people who are going through similar incidents in a way that it doesn't spark an emotion in me to where it breaks me down and I can't talk about it anymore, but to be strong and be able to do that. And that's what I want to instill in my son at this age, because who knows, when he grows up, he may have to go through another quarantine with his kids again. And he has to be that emotional support, and he has to be that person that kind of like makes things differently in these situations. So that's what I really want to instill in him. And then thirdly, another conversation that we had was about suicide. Apparently one of his good friends, like, he's a gamer, so he does PC gaming, and he has this chat group where, he has his little headphones on and he speaks with his friends. While he was on the phone, one of his female friends went away to commit suicide because she had broken up with a boyfriend. A lot of people look towards suicide as a way to get some type of notice or raise some type of spark in other people to let them know that they're serious and that's their last resort. And that's how my son explained her. And I was like, dude, it's like, you're pretty much on point about that. He's a little psychologist. This guy's the quietest, sweetest, just like helpful kid that I've ever met in my life, more so than me. I'm a little bit jelly, but he's doing a good job. So he told me that she tried to commit suicide. She was unsuccessful, but they knew that she was doing it. So it was my son who had to call his parents or her parents and let them know what was going on. So the parents caught it in time, but the girl ran away from home and then ended up almost getting hit by a car. And my son was so torn up about this. And he's out kind of in this kind of like cookie cutter desert track home community to where everything's the same. Everything is brown. Everything is just vanilla, brown and vanilla. And that's the life that he lives in. And so my thought was like, first of all, it's like, life is valuable. The only thing that you can do, which you've done a lot, is, you have to understand that life ends. Nothing's ever permanent, but our lives are important. So the longer that you could help somebody and keep them on this planet, because that person actually resonates the harmony of this universe. And if that person is not in harmony and they off themselves, or, sadly, then that kind of like destroys the harmony of our universe. And I'm trying to let my son know how important we are as individuals. And at the same time, just telling him that, these things happen. It's not a normal thing, but everything is as it should be. And it was really hard to tell him that because it was such a devastating blow to know that this kid who's living in the suburbs is going through all this. And the suburbs aren't this like, rose colored glasses place or these, the suburbs I've lived out there. And when you're living in a place where you don't feel like you feel plastic, that's when your emotions really start to bubble up. And that's when you really don't have or see the importance of the value of life, even especially your own life. And so there took a lot of explanation in that too. So immediately I was like, you need to come out here and be with dad and just stay with me for 3 weeks. Like, F COVID, F what's going on. You need to let your mom know what happened so you could get away from that for a little bit. So he's going to be staying out here with me for, a while. I'm not the best parent when it comes to structure for school, but it's like I do love the idea of education. This kind of taught me, or this kind of helped me understand my place as a parent. Sometimes when things bad happen in your family, it doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. It just means that you have to be quick on your toes and maybe change your thinking a little bit and do something drastic, switch it up a little bit. And this allowed me to be able to switch things up a little bit so I could get closer to my son after these past 6 months where I feel like we're both kind of slipping away from each other. So it's just, it's just at this point, I need to be that parent that's more emotionally stable and that sees things bigger and steps out of the box, because I don't want my kids thinking that their lives don't matter. I don't want them thinking that there's no future or no hope for them. Like, I'm not the best parent and none of us are, but I do believe that all of us bring something to the pot when it comes to parenting. So we have to understand in the whole essence of what we're going through, COVID, Black Lives Matter, the things that are going on over the world, is to raise a child that has a foundation to be able to vibrate higher, no matter what the circumstances are. And when we're able to do that, it's like, we are planting our seeds. That child is part of us. They have the bad qualities, they have the good qualities, and they have every part of us. And they will never be anything like us, but they will be everything like us at the same time. And that's what I shoot for my son. It's like, I don't want him to bring the trauma of my family into his life. I don't want him to bring the trauma of myself into his life. And the only way that we could do that is instill independent thinking in our children and instill the understanding that no matter what you go through, it is making you a stronger person, a better person for the future, and to understand how to be in harmony with yourself so that you're in harmony with the rest of the universe. And we, our children, ourselves, and everything are just that important. So that is my rant. This has kind of been like a little free thinking type, and also to allow you guys to know that you guys aren't alone and being parents and being children and being siblings or friends or anything. We just have to listen. This isn't about you. This isn't a selfish thing. When we choose to not listen to our children and think that everything that we're doing is more important than what they're doing, it's not like that. Even your friends, it's like sometimes you'll have friends that are just talking about their lives and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And you have your issues and you're like, it's like I have this going on. And then the next thing you know, they're just talking about their lives and talking about their lives and blah, blah, blah. Part of communication is being an active listener. Part of being empathic is being an active listener. Part of like everything that we do is about listening. And how can you listen if you're always talking? So with your family, with your friends, with everybody, choose to listen and gain wisdom through listening, and then do the deep work, and then be able to regurgitate some type of action or some type of comments that will help them out in their lives. It's like I know a lot of people that don't listen, and As soon as somebody has a problem, it's like they're joking about it or this and that. And it's like, this is a serious thing. And it's like, I need help right now. So it's like, I really wanted to be able to help him and sit there and listen for 2 hours to get through all this stuff. I hope I did. This is Boaz Abel. Remember, when you're in harmony with yourself, you're in harmony with the rest of the universe. You're just that important. Love and light.